This is the part 1 of the story titled Problem of Lovemaking in Marriage. Let us follow the story of this couple, Mr. and Mrs. Timothy. It has been in the position of a man to entice a lady, but in this family, reverse is the case. The wife, Mrs. Timothy, needs it more than the husband, and she hates to be given excuses anytime she wants to play. Remember the title of the story, The Problem of Lovemaking in Marriage. Now, Mrs. Timothy wants to play, but Mr. Timothy wants to rest. Let us follow them and see who wins. It is obvious Mrs. Timothy has gotten what she wanted, but looking at her, it seems like she wants some more. Let us see. The time is 2 a.m. in the morning, and Mrs. Timothy is awake looking for something again. But I don't think she will succeed this time. But let us see. When it was done, she woke up, moved her hand behind to touch her husband, but she felt nothing. When she turned, she could not find the husband in the room. To her greatest surprise, she moved outside looking for him. When she got to the staircase, she found her husband, Mr. Timothy, sleeping on the staircase. It happened that Mr. Timothy had to leave the room for his wife when her demand became too much for him to handle. She felt pity for him at that time and moved closer to him to wake him up. This became a very big challenge for Mr. Timothy that he had to do something about it. He went to see a pharmacist. He demanded that he should have any drug that will keep him fit for that night. He refused to open up to her, which she would have given him an advice on what to do about it. He could not tell her exactly what the problem was, maybe because she was a lady, no one knows, but he just made a demand. The pharmacist looked at her suspiciously, but she had to sell her goods. That night, Mr. Timothy became ready for any kind of play and for how long the wife may want it, but he didn't know that the biggest disappointment and punishment was on the way. The wife came in and picked the bed cover, spread it on the floor, leaving the bed for the husband to sleep alone. How can this happen when Mr. Timothy has taken drugs that cannot leave his body so quickly except he plays with his wife? The wife had a reason for leaving the bed for the husband to sleep alone. She knew that if the two of them shared the same bed that night, she must disturb her husband. For her husband not to go and sleep outside like before, she preferred to let him be for now. She was doing all this not knowing that her husband has brought something upon himself and that she needed to help him out. The husband cannot keep quiet at this time, so let's see what happens. This is morning time and Mr. Timothy was still in serious trouble because of the drugs he took last night. The wife, Mrs. Timothy, was preparing for work. She didn't care to attend to Mr. Timothy's need that morning. She must be in the office in the next 15 minutes. She looked at him but could not understand why he was staring at her. Mr. Timothy was alone in the house, not knowing what to do. He remembered his friend, the Joe. He picked his phone to call his friend, the Joe. He told his friend exactly what happened, and his friend told him to come over to his house and take an antidote. If you happen to be in Mr. Timothy's shoe, what are you going to do? Or what is your advice for Mr. and Mrs. Timothy? Please drop your advice on the comment area, share this video, and see you next Friday with the conclusion of the story. The problem of lovemaking in marriage. Support House of the Sons Global and remain blessed. Thank you. This is House of the Sons Global.